What's up everybody, my name is Mike Ritchie, and recently I've gotten some requests on how to play Gypsy Jazz rhythm guitar. So I figured I'd make this quick video and kind of show you the mechanics and the how-to of the whole thing. So I'm just going to play a quick clip for you of a tune, and then we'll look into how we play this style. Alright, so that tune was called I Can't Give You Anything But Love. We're not going to go over that in this video. I'll make a separate video on how to play different songs, including that one, I Can't Give You Anything But Love. But in this video, we're going to talk just about the mechanics of playing this music and this rhythm, which is particularly called La Pompe. So let's just get right into it, alright? First, we need to make sure that we're setting with our guitar correctly, of course. Second, one particular thing about this style is that we do not rest our wrists on the bridge like most modern styles do. It's all floating wrist, and that's also with the lead playing as well. So that's going to be a little bit of a difference and maybe kind of uncomfortable for a lot of you out there. It was very uncomfortable for me at first because I came from playing electric guitar. So we need to find our position first. We got the guitar, we put our arm around the back. Okay, so then we're going to have our hand hanging out like this, and we want to keep our pick just kind of in general around the edge of this hole here. You know, we're all going to kind of fluctuate a little bit here and there, no big deal, but that's just a kind of a general rule of thumb. You don't want your hand way up here, you don't want to way back here. It's kind of a sweet spot right there, okay? Then we're going to have kind of a slight kind of bend in our wrist right here, okay? It's not a huge bend, so when I first started playing this, you will hear about the bend, and then a lot of the time I was actually over bending when I was learning this and actually straining my wrist. So we don't want to over bend our hand. We just want to kind of have it in a slightly bent way, and the reason for that bent way is because we're going to have a twisting motion in our hand. We're going to use a lot of wrist and I guess technically forearm in this. We have a little bit of elbow play, but not a whole lot. It's just a minimal amount necessary to keep resetting your position. Okay, so I'm just going to play a couple, 2-5-1 here. All right, see how that looks? A little bit of a bend, a lot of rotation in the wrist, and a little bit of elbow in there, right? So let's go ahead and get into kind of the picking pattern for this, and with the picking pattern will come more of the arm positioning, right? So we kind of understand both at the same time. It's a little particular. So a lot of people always ask me, they say, are you playing with your thumb and like no pick, like your thumbnail or something? And it's not, I play with a pick, and the reason why it looks like I play with my thumbnail is because I actually hold the pick way back on my thumb, right at the joint there. I've seen a lot of players hold it way up here. They kind of, I don't know, maybe a typical, where you're holding it with the pad of your thumb here, but I hold it way back on the bend. Everybody's going to hold their different, hold theirs different. I've seen 1,000 amazing players all hold it in different ways. So don't worry too much about how you hold the pick, but just make sure that it's sturdy in your hands there. So when we go to position our hand, we have to have a thing that I like to call the default position, okay? So we put our arm on, and then we have our wrist out, this slight bend in it, like this. And then afterward, what I call the default position is kind of like where my hand rests in relation to the strings, okay? So I usually have my pick kind of pointed at the A and the D string here, kind of in that area, roughly, you know? And then I will start the La Pompe from that and then reset to that. It's called the default position because it's what you always return to restart the process, okay? So the La Pompe rhythm actually has just 3 strokes to it, and then they're repeated over and over, okay? So the strokes are up, down, down. Seems simple enough, but let's see exactly how it's done here. So we're gonna start in the default position where your hand is kind of hanging like this, right around the A and the D string. We're gonna use this kind of a twisty motion here. And remember the strokes are up, down, down. So we're gonna go up stroke, and then down stroke, and then a big downstroke. So it's a tiny upstroke, a tiny downstroke, and a big downstroke. The first upstroke is going to cover the kind of the top 3 strings. You can get that G string in there if you want. You know, you're all over the place. It's gonna be kind of a variable, right? So you upstroke on relatively the top 3 strings. Then you downstroke relatively on the top 3, 4 strings. And then your third downstroke, or your third, I guess, stroke, is going to be through practically all of them, right? So it's going to be 2 tiny picks and then 1 big one, like this. Okay? This comes back to the point where I'm referring to that thing that I said is the default position, okay? So we pick up and down, like that. The default position, the reason why I call it that is because a lot of people, after the third stroke, the third pick stroke, your hand is actually way down here, right? So you go up, down, down, and then your hand is resting down here. So what a lot of people do is they try to upstroke from this rested position way down here. So they'll end up stroking all of the strings. And that's not what you want. That creates a lot of mess. Something like... You don't want... Right? We want something small. Like that. So the default position is to where you move back to default position after that stroke before you start the La Pompe process over again. Like, so it's like this. Up, down, down. Bring it back up. Bring it back up. And bring it back up. Just like that, okay? Okay? So you might be trying this right now at home and wondering, why does this not sound right? Okay? Well, in conjunction with the right hand, we do have the part of this, which is the reason why it's called the La Pompe, is because we actually are pumping our hand, our left hand, to create the mutes where we need them and to let the chord ring out when we need it. So most particularly, we upstroke on muted strings, then we press the left hand down, and then hit those top few strings, and then we let off so it mutes. So up muted, down, and then press and let off and let it mute itself. Just like that. Okay? And these working in conjunction together allows you to have that La Pompe sound, that swinging jazz rhythm, that kind of drum-like rhythm that's going on there, right? Next up is the upstroke considerations. This is where a lot of people have a lot of trouble with this. And I think that if you refer to the default position that I'm talking about, it'll be much easier to attain this. Okay, so the upstroke it's very small. It's almost inaudible sometimes. So a lot of people have problems doing too large of upstrokes or trying to do them like in too quick of a manner, something like that. And I think a lot of the time it does have to do with the fact that they don't reset to that default position to restart everything and do it as so. Another part of the upstroke is just kind of like how much you're hitting it with your pick. And that's just something that takes a lot of practice as far as how much pick you're giving it, you know, how heavy the upstroke is, audible or not, you know, things like that. Another aspect that you want to consider when playing this is the positioning of your pick. Okay, so a lot of people, because of the wrist motion, they actually change the direction of their pick a lot. They kind of, it's kind of like a downward, and then on the way up, they twist it up, and it comes up like that, and it's just kind of odd. And what that does is it causes a lot of fluctuation in the consistency of the sound. And actually, one attribute of this rhythm is consistency. Okay, so when I'm playing this, I put my pick at a downward facing angle, like so. Okay, and it's kind of always like that. It's kind of always there. I don't really change my angle at all. So I'll do an upstroke. It might change a little bit on that first up, but then it's down again. So my pick is kind of always at the same angle. It's like do-doom, da, do-doom, da, do-doom, da, like that, right? So I'm always having the same position of attack from my pick, which creates the most even sound that I can get, right? So keep your pick in place. You go to the default position where the pick hangs around the A and the D string. We do an upstroke, muted, downstroke, and then let off the left hand, and then a big downstroke. Reset. Keep that pick in the same spot. My pick is always in the same spot. Another aspect of this that we can consider also is how hard we're hitting the strings. So this is something that I see a lot of new players do this a lot, where because of the sound of these guitars, the nature of the music itself, when we're trying to project from an acoustic setting, right? We don't have an amplifier, well, you know, in general, the traditional way. There's not an amplifier, so we're trying to project out so everyone can hear what's going on in the music, and so that can sometimes give people the misconception that they need to hit it really hard and dig in a whole lot in a certain way, right? And it kind of makes things shrill, right? So one thing that we want to focus on when doing this rhythm is that everything is consistent, right? Not only is the pick angle consistent, not only are we consistently moving back to default position and doing the La Pompe the exact same way every single time, right? But we're also giving the strings the same amount of attack every single time as well. We're not putting too much pressure on the strings, but we're definitely digging into it. So there's kind of this idea of just hitting the strings, right? Or I don't know if I can even, let me see. Just, I don't know. In some kind of nonchalant way, you're like hitting the strings a whole lot. And then there's kind of another feeling of the strings where you can actually dig in and push through the strings. You have to be holding onto your pick very tightly for this. You don't want your pick to bend a whole lot when you're playing. You want it to be pretty sturdy because you want to have control over how hard or how not hard you're hitting the strings, and it's very consistent. You don't want to be hitting the strings and then it folds down here or folds up here. That's not good. It's also going to give you a lighter sound. Like, look, if I easily hold on to this pick, it gives me this sound. It's kind of a light, airy, not full-bodied sound. If you really hold on to this thing where it's not moving, it's almost become a part of your hand at this point. It's going to give you this thick sound. Not this light, not that, this. Right? We want that sound right there. Okay? Let's try this on a 2-5-1 here, okay? So we're going to do A minor 7. We're muting the A string there. D9. And then, for this sake, we'll do G major. Okay? We'll practice this again on just a 1 to 5 to 1 progression. So we'll do G, and then we'll do D7, and then G again. I'm using the thumb on this G here, but it's the same thing as this G here. I'll go over that in a different video. So there's one more thing that I wanted to talk about in all of this, actually something that encompasses all guitar playing, rhythm, lead, everything that you'll ever do musically, especially including this, and especially including new things that you're learning. And what that is relaxation, okay? So when you're learning something new, it's very easy to get very tense. You start feeling tension in your whole body almost, nervousness, learning, unsurety, you know, tension. We don't want tension. I know when I first started learning this, and I was worried about the curve in my wrist. I was over curving my wrist like this. I was hitting the guitar very hard. I was squeezing my left hand very hard. Everything was tense, and nothing was smooth, and nothing was nice. Okay, so we need to focus on relaxation, and this is actually something that I practice every single day. Every single day, I practice relaxation, and it's because it's the key to playing smoothly, playing in time, I would say, playing for a long time. You know, everything about the way you play, your musicality and everything will be much better if you're relaxed, okay? So let me just show you a quick tip on how to relax when you're doing this. And I do this every single day. Okay, so say we're learning this new Pompe rhythm, and we're unsure about the new chord shapes. Right? Say some of these are kind of like new to you and you're like, okay, and then you're not resting your wrist anymore, so that's weird. And then we're using this kind of weird like wrist rotation. We're not using a lot of elbow, we're using wrist rotation, and that's kind of weird. And then we got to pump our hand, and that's kind of weird. And it kind of all starts adding up to a very stressful practice, really. You start letting things get out of hand, and you start wearing out also. It's a strain on the body. So I will take something new that I have to practice. Let's just say it's this 2-5-1, and I will play it all terribly. I'm trying, I suck at it, whatever. You're just trying your best, right? So you're just going along. Okay, and as we go along, the tension starts to build up more and more. And you know, it starts to build up in your body, and a lot of the places, at least for me, that it builds up is my shoulder and kind of down my arm here, and that's the worst, right? So I will mindfully play something new for the sake of practice, and then while I'm kind of in the rotation of going through these motions, I will consider myself, how tense am I right now? Try to mentally feel your shoulder here. Mentally feel your arm down to your wrist. Are you stressing your wrist out? And then what you do is you just stop playing for a second, you drop your arm to the side all the way, and you just kind of let your arm hang down like this. Just let it hang like a noodle. And then mentally focus on just those muscles that feel tense in your arm and let them relax. And it'll feel like you're putting some heavy weights down or something after lifting them, and your muscles will kind of go to goo. And then here's the key part. You might think, okay, well, that's fun. And then you're going to go back and start playing again. Stress immediately. Right? No, we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to be relaxing, and then we're going to set our guitar back, and we're going to stay relaxed, okay? As relaxed as if your arm is hanging down here. And we're going to slowly bring it back up here, as relaxed as possible. All of these muscles should just be goopy goo. And then we're not going to focus as much on the technique and what we're learning, because hopefully you're kind of combining these two, right? You're focusing on the technique, then you focus on the relaxation, then you focus on the technique again. You kind of go back and forth, and you'll start to train them together, right? So then we're not going to focus this time as much as getting it right as we are going to see if we can do it at all while staying relaxed. So then we do it again. And you'll notice that it actually goes pretty well for a minute there. And then what's going to happen is you're going to be like, yeah, I feel pretty relaxed. I feel pretty good. This is going nice. It's going nice. Your brain's going to be focused on relaxing, and then you're going to mess up the thing that you're practicing. And this is going to happen. So then when you mess up the thing that you're practicing, your brain goes into panic mode again. What am I doing wrong? Trying to check on everything. Is my technique right? Why is this not sounding right? And as soon as that happens, what happens? The stress comes right back again. Okay, so that's why you have to bounce back and forth between these things. So then you're going to spend another 15, 20 minutes stressing out, but you're figuring it out over here. You're figuring it out over here. You're figuring it out here. And then you're going to realize a little bit in, oh, I need to check my stress levels. I need to check the tension. And then you go, okay, time to relax. Drop this hand down to the side. Relax it again. Chill out for a second. After it's relaxed and it feels good, you bring it back up slowly. Place it on there, stay relaxed, and then now do it again. So then you're going to have kind of those corrections that you made, and then you're going to be focused on this again. You'll probably be able to last a little bit longer without messing up over here while focusing on this, and as soon as you mess up over here, it's going to stress out again, and you kind of keep doing this, climbing this little ladder of like total relaxation, because you need to do this for everything. When you're practicing anything on the guitar, I do this every single day, no matter what. Every time I play. I do this in the middle of shows, if I have to. Especially playing live will, stress you out a little bit as well. A little bit of nervousness or whatever, depending on what the gig is and stuff like that. So, anyways, folks, I hope this tutorial on how to play La Pompe Gypsy Jazz rhythm guitar can help you in some way. I hope I didn't over-explain it or anything, or under-explain it. If I did, please leave me any comments on what you'd like to see, what I could have done better in this video, any questions or concerns whatsoever. And I'm going to create a series of videos just teaching individual songs. So I'm going to teach the chords to it, I'll teach the melody to it, go over some chord substitution stuff, go over some cool solo ideas, things like that. So stay tuned for upcoming videos, and thank you guys so much. I'll see you next time.